When it comes to healthy blood flow, nitric oxide is one of the most important signals your body uses, yet most people have never heard of it. This tiny molecule acts like a messenger that tells your blood vessels when to relax and widen. When nitric oxide levels are strong, blood moves through your arteries with less resistance. Oxygen and nutrients reach your organs more easily, and your heart doesn't have to work as hard to push blood forward. This is why healthy nitric oxide levels are linked to warmer hands and feet, better energy, clearer thinking, and more stable blood pressure. The problem is that nitric oxide naturally declines with age. Poor food choices, chronic stress, inflammation, smoking, excess sugar, and mineral deficiencies can all interfere with its production. When levels drop, arteries become less flexible, circulation slows, and blood pressure may begin to creep upward, often without obvious symptoms at first. Inside your blood vessels is a thin, sensitive lining called the endothelium. This lining is responsible for producing nitric oxide from nutrients you consume. When the endothelium is well nourished, it releases nitric oxide efficiently. When it's damaged or inflamed, nitric oxide output falls and circulation suffers. That's why food plays such a powerful role. Certain foods provide the raw materials your body uses to generate nitric oxide naturally. When eaten consistently, these foods help your vessels stay relaxed, elastic, and responsive, supporting smoother blood flow throughout the body. Improving nitric oxide levels doesn't require extreme diets or supplements. It starts with understanding which foods support this process and how to include them regularly. In the next section, you'll learn which specific foods are most effective at increasing nitric oxide and how to use them safely as part of everyday meals. If there's one food group that quietly supports healthy circulation every single day, it's leafy greens. Unlike foods that give a short-term boost, leafy greens work as a steady foundation for nitric oxide production, the kind your blood vessels rely on long-term. Leafy greens such as spinach, arugula, kale, and romaine are naturally rich in dietary nitrates. These compounds provide the raw material your body uses to produce nitric oxide inside the blood vessel lining. When this process runs smoothly, arteries stay more relaxed and responsive throughout the day. What makes leafy greens unique is consistency. Because they're easy to eat daily, they help maintain stable nitric oxide levels instead of sharp spikes. This steady support allows blood to move with less resistance, reducing strain on the heart over time. Leafy greens also deliver potassium, magnesium, and antioxidants, nutrients that protect nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. Together, these compounds support the endothelium, the delicate inner layer of the arteries that controls blood vessel flexibility. How to use them effectively? Aim to include at least one serving of leafy greens at 1 or 2 meals per day. Add spinach or arugula to salads, omelets, or wraps. Light cooking, such as steaming or sautéing, preserves their circulation-supporting benefits while making them easier to digest. Because leafy greens are gentle, affordable, and widely available, they form the base of any nitric oxide supporting diet. When eaten consistently, they help your arteries stay relaxed, your circulation steady, and your blood flow supported, day after day. Spinach and arugula stand out among leafy greens because of their unusually high nitrate content. Once eaten, these natural nitrates don't act directly. They go saw a conversion process that turns them into nitric oxide inside the body, especially within the lining of blood vessels. This nitric oxide signals the smooth muscles surrounding your arteries to relax. When that tension drops, vessels widen slightly, allowing blood to pass through with less pressure and less effort from the heart. The result is smoother circulation rather than forced flow. Arugula is particularly interesting because it delivers nitrates in a highly bioavailable form, meaning the body can use them efficiently even in small amounts. Spinach adds another layer of support by supplying folate and magnesium, which help the nitric oxide system function properly instead of burning out quickly. Timing also matters. Eating spinach or arugula earlier in the day supports nitric oxide availability during active hours when circulation demand is higher. This makes them especially useful for people who feel cold hands and feet, leg heaviness, or fatigue with mild activity. To maximize the benefit, avoid pairing nitrate-rich greens with antibacterial mouthwashes or frequent antiseptic use. Healthy oral bacteria play a key role in converting dietary nitrates into usable nitric oxide, and disrupting that process can weaken the effect. When included regularly, spinach and arugula don't just support blood flow in the moment, they help maintain vessel flexibility over time, which is essential for keeping arteries responsive as we age.
Beets don't work quietly. They work fast. Many people notice a difference in circulation within hours, not days, which is why beets are often used before physical activity or during periods of low energy. The reason lies in their concentrated nitrate profile. Beets deliver one of the highest natural nitrate loads per serving, giving the body immediate material to convert into nitric oxide. This rapid increase encourages blood vessels to expand, improving flow without forcing the heart to work harder. What makes beets different from leafy greens is intensity. While greens provide steady daily support, beets act more like a circulation ignition switch. This is especially helpful for people dealing with stiffness, pressure sensations, or sluggish blood flow after long periods of sitting. Another advantage is how beets influence oxygen delivery. By improving vessel flexibility, nitric oxide allows red blood cells to move more efficiently, which can reduce feelings of heaviness in the legs or shortness of breath during mild exertion. How to use beets for best results? Fresh beet juice, roasted beets, or lightly steamed beets all work. Consuming them on an empty stomach or several hours away from heavy meals can enhance nitrate absorption. Even small servings can be effective due to their potency. Because beets act quickly, they're best viewed as a targeted tool rather than an everyday base. Used occasionally alongside leafy greens, they provide a powerful nitric oxide boost that supports circulation when you need it most. How beets relax arteries within hours. The speed at which beets affect circulation comes down to how efficiently the body handles their natural nitrates. Shortly after consumption, these nitrates enter the bloodstream and begin a step-by-step conversion process that leads to nitric oxide production inside the blood vessel walls. Once nitric oxide is released, it acts like a signal rather than a stimulant. It tells the smooth muscle surrounding arteries to loosen its grip. As that tension fades, the vessel diameter increases slightly, allowing blood to move more freely with less internal resistance. This process doesn't require long-term buildup. In many people, improved blood flow can occur within 2 to 3 hours, which explains why beets are often associated with rapid changes in circulation, warmth, and pressure balance. Another reason the effect feels quick is that nitric oxide improves arterial responsiveness. Instead of stiff vessels reacting slowly to changes in demand, arteries become more adaptable, expanding when circulation needs rise and relaxing when demand drops. Hydration also amplifies this effect. Because nitric oxide works within the fluid environment of the bloodstream, adequate water intake helps maximize vessel relaxation and flow efficiency after beet consumption. Beets don't permanently force arteries open. Instead, they support the body's natural signaling system, allowing vessels to relax when appropriate. This is why their effects feel smooth and controlled, rather than sudden or artificial. Producing nitric oxide is only half the equation. The other half is keeping it active long enough to do its job, and that's where citrus fruits come in. Oranges, lemons, grapefruits, and limes don't supply large amounts of nitrates themselves. Instead, they protect nitric oxide after it's been created. Their vitamin C and flavonoid content helps prevent nitric oxide from being rapidly destroyed by oxidative stress inside the bloodstream. When nitric oxide breaks down too quickly, arteries lose their ability to stay relaxed. Citrus compounds slow this process by neutralizing free radicals that would otherwise interfere with vessel signaling. The result is more stable, longer-lasting blood flow support. Citrus fruits also improve endothelial function, the health of the inner lining of arteries. Healthy endothelial cells release nitric oxide more efficiently and respond better when it's present.
Vitamin C helps maintain this responsiveness, which becomes increasingly important with age. Best ways to use citrus. Fresh whole fruit works better than juices alone because fiber slows sugar absorption and supports metabolic balance. Adding lemon to water, eating an orange with meals, or pairing citrus with nitrate-rich foods enhances nitric oxide availability throughout the day. Rather than acting as a direct trigger, citrus fruits act as guardians. By protecting nitric oxide from early breakdown, they help your arteries stay flexible, responsive, and better supported over time. Vitamin C supports circulation not by forcing blood vessels open, but by preserving the signals that tell them to relax. Inside the bloodstream, nitric oxide is fragile. Without protection, it can be neutralized before arteries fully respond. Vitamin C acts as a stabilizer. It reduces oxidative stress that interferes with nitric oxide signaling, allowing vessels to remain relaxed for longer periods instead of tightening prematurely. This creates smoother, more consistent blood flow rather than short-lived effects. Another key role of vitamin C is supporting the endothelium, the thin inner lining of the arteries. Healthy endothelial cells release nitric oxide more efficiently and respond better when it's present. Vitamin C helps maintain this responsiveness, which becomes increasingly important with age. Over time, this protective role helps arteries stay flexible, responsive, and less prone to stiffness, supporting healthier circulation without placing stress on the cardiovascular system.
Garlic supports blood flow in a very different way than nitrate-rich foods. Instead of supplying raw materials for nitric oxide, garlic helps arteries relax by influencing the chemical signals that control vessel tone. When garlic is crushed or chopped, it releases sulfur-based compounds such as allicin. These compounds stimulate the production of hydrogen sulfide and enhance nitric oxide activity, both of which signal blood vessels to widen naturally. This dual action makes garlic especially useful for people with stiff or reactive arteries. Garlic also helps reduce low-grade inflammation along the artery walls. When inflammation is present, blood vessels tend to remain slightly constricted. By calming this response, garlic allows arteries to relax more easily and respond better to circulation demands. Another advantage of garlic is its effect on blood viscosity. By supporting healthy platelet activity, garlic helps blood move more smoothly through narrowed or aging vessels, reducing resistance without thinning the blood excessively. How to use garlic effectively. Fresh garlic provides the strongest benefit. Crushing or chopping cloves and letting them sit for several minutes before cooking activates key compounds. Light cooking preserves much of its circulation support, while excessive heat reduces potency. Garlic doesn't act instantly like beets, and it doesn't build slowly like leafy greens. Instead, it provides steady vascular support that improves artery flexibility and blood flow when used consistently over time. Garlic improves circulation by reducing resistance inside the arteries rather than forcing blood to move faster. When blood vessels are relaxed and flexible, pressure naturally drops because the heart doesn't need to push as hard to move blood forward. The sulfur compounds released from fresh garlic help calm the smooth muscles surrounding blood vessels. As this muscle relaxes, arteries widen slightly, creating more space for blood to pass through with less friction. This change alone can ease pressure within the vessel walls. Garlic also helps support healthier signaling between the endothelium and the nervous system. This improves the body's ability to regulate vessel tone throughout the day, preventing sudden tightening that can cause pressure spikes. Another important effect is garlic's influence on circulation efficiency. By improving blood fluidity and reducing unnecessary clotting activity, garlic allows blood to flow more smoothly through small and medium-sized vessels, areas where pressure problems often begin. These effects don't rely on stimulation. Garlic works gradually, helping the cardiovascular system settle into a lower stress state rather than producing a sharp drop. That's why consistent intake is more effective than occasional use. Over time, this combination of relaxed vessels, smoother flow, and improved regulation helps support healthier blood pressure while keeping circulation steady and controlled.
Nitric oxide can't do its job properly without a healthy environment inside the blood vessels. That environment depends heavily on the types of fats you eat. Healthy fats from foods like olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish support the structure and function of the endothelium, the inner lining of the arteries where nitric oxide is produced. When this lining is nourished, nitric oxide signals are stronger and more reliable. These fats also reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, two major factors that interfere with nitric oxide production. When artery walls are irritated or damaged, nitric oxide output drops. Healthy fats help calm this response, allowing normal production to resume. Omega-3 fatty acids play a special role. They improve membrane flexibility in blood vessel cells, making it easier for nitric oxide to be released and received. This improves vessel responsiveness without overstimulation. How to use healthy fats effectively. Use extra virgin olive oil as a primary fat, add avocados to meals, snack on nuts in moderation, and include fatty fish a few times per week. Balance matters. Healthy fats support nitric oxide best when they replace processed or inflammatory fats. Rather than acting as a trigger, healthy fats create the conditions nitric oxide needs to work efficiently. Over time, this support helps maintain relaxed arteries, steady blood flow, and resilient circulation. The endothelium is where circulation health begins. This thin inner lining of the arteries controls how well blood vessels relax, respond, and repair themselves, and healthy fats play a major role in keeping it functional. Extra virgin olive oil contains polyphenols that protect endothelial cells from oxidative damage. When these cells are protected, they're better able to produce and release nitric oxide when the body needs it. This leads to smoother vessel relaxation instead of delayed or weakened responses. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish, flax seeds, and walnuts, strengthen endothelial membranes. More flexible cell membranes allow nitric oxide signals to pass efficiently, improving communication between blood flow demand and vessel response. These fats also reduce inflammation along artery walls. Inflammation stiffens vessels and blocks nitric oxide activity, while omega-3s help restore balance, allowing arteries to remain calm and responsive rather than reactive. Unlike quick-acting foods, olive oil and omega-3s work gradually. Their benefits build as endothelial health improves, supporting consistent blood flow and pressure regulation over time. Used regularly, these healthy fats don't just assist nitric oxide, they protect the very system that makes nitric oxide effective, helping arteries stay flexible and resilient as the body ages.
Each of these foods supports circulation in a different way, but their real power shows up when they're used together. Nitric oxide production isn't a single-step process, it's a system. When one part improves, the others become more effective. Leafy greens and beets supply the raw materials needed to produce nitric oxide. Citrus fruits protect it from breaking down too quickly. Garlic helps arteries respond by relaxing vessel muscle, while healthy fats strengthen the endothelial lining where nitric oxide is made. When these actions happen at the same time, the results don't just add up, they reinforce each other. This combination reduces the need for extreme doses of any one food. Instead of pushing one pathway too hard, the body receives balanced support across production, protection, and response. That's why people often notice steadier circulation rather than short-lived spikes. Another advantage of combining these foods is timing. Some work quickly, others work gradually. Together, they provide both immediate vessel relaxation and long-term arterial support, creating a smoother and more sustainable improvement in blood flow. Most importantly, this approach works with the body's natural signaling systems. Rather than forcing changes, it restores communication between blood vessels, the heart, and the nutrients that regulate circulation. When these foods are eaten consistently and in combination, they create an environment where nitric oxide can function efficiently, helping arteries stay relaxed, blood flow stay smooth, and circulation stay supported over time. Building a nitric oxide supporting plate
isn't about strict rules or complicated meal plans. It's about repeating a simple pattern each day so the body receives steady support instead of occasional spikes. Start with a daily foundation. Every day should include at least one serving of leafy greens such as spinach or arugula. These act as the base layer, supplying consistent nitrate support that keeps nitric oxide available throughout the day. Add targeted boosters 2 to 3 times per week. Beets work best when used strategically rather than daily. Include them on days when circulation demand is higher, for example, before longer walks, physical activity, or on days when stiffness feels worse. Include protective foods daily. Citrus fruits can be rotated through the week. Oranges one day, lemon water another. Grapefruit occasionally. Their role is to protect nitric oxide so the benefits from other foods last longer. Use garlic regularly but lightly. 1 fresh clove per day, crushed and allowed to rest before cooking, is enough to support vessel relaxation without overpowering meals. Finish with healthy fats at most meals. Olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, or fatty fish help maintain endothelial health. These fats support nitric oxide production over time and stabilize circulation from day to day. A simple plate structure looks like this. Half the plate, vegetables, including leafy greens. 1/4 protein, fish, legumes, eggs, or lean meats. 1/4 whole foods with healthy fats. Optional add-ons, citrus or beets, depending on the day. Rotating foods across 7 days prevents overload while keeping all pathways supported. This approach creates steady nitric oxide availability, smoother blood flow, and long-term arterial support without stress, extremes, or complicated tracking. Many people focus on adding the right foods but overlook everyday habits that quietly interfere with nitric oxide production and function. These mistakes don't cause immediate problems, but over time they can limit circulation benefits. One common issue is overusing antibacterial mouthwash. Healthy oral bacteria play a critical role in converting dietary nitrates into usable nitric oxide. When these bacteria are repeatedly wiped out, the entire nitrate pathway becomes less efficient. Another mistake is pairing nitrate-rich foods with highly processed meals. Excessive refined sugars, trans fats, and ultra-processed foods increase oxidative stress, which causes nitric oxide to break down before arteries can fully respond. Chronic dehydration is also overlooked. Nitric oxide works within the bloodstream, and low fluid levels reduce its ability to signal vessel relaxation effectively, making circulation feel sluggish. Skipping healthy fats is another blocker. Without sufficient fats, endothelial cells become less responsive, limiting nitric oxide release even when nitrate intake is adequate. Finally, inconsistent intake weakens results. Nitric oxide support works best when nutrients are supplied regularly. Long gaps between supportive foods force the body to restart the process repeatedly instead of maintaining steady function. Avoiding these common mistakes allow nitric oxide pathways to operate smoothly, helping arteries stay relaxed, circulation stay consistent, and blood flow stay supported naturally.
Maximizing nitric oxide doesn't require extreme diets or strict schedules. A simple, repeatable daily routine works best because it supports production, protection, and vessel response all at once. Start the day with hydration and gentle movement. A glass of water upon waking helps nitric oxide signaling work efficiently. Light walking or stretching shortly after waking stimulates blood flow and encourages vessels to respond naturally. At breakfast or mid-morning, include a source of leafy greens. A smoothie with spinach or a small arugula salad provides early nitrate support, helping circulation stay steady through active hours. Use healthy fats at main meals. Drizzle olive oil on vegetables or include avocado, nuts, or seeds. These fats nourish the endothelium, supporting nitric oxide production throughout the day. In the afternoon or early evening, add a protective element. Citrus fruit or lemon water helps preserve nitric oxide created earlier, preventing early breakdown as energy levels dip.
Include garlic with 1 meal per day. A crushed clove added to cooked vegetables or soups supports vessel relaxation and helps regulate pressure gradually. On 2 or 3 days per week, use beets strategically, earlier in the day or before activity, to provide a stronger circulation boost when needed. Finish the day with calm habits. Poor sleep and chronic stress tighten blood vessels and counteract nitric oxide. Relaxation, deep breathing, and consistent sleep times help keep arteries responsive overnight. This routine works because it's balanced and sustainable. When followed daily, it supports steady blood flow, relaxed arteries, and efficient nitric oxide function without overwhelming the body. When nitric oxide pathways begin working more efficiently, the first changes are usually subtle but noticeable. Most people don't feel a dramatic surge. Instead, they notice smoother, more comfortable circulation. Within the first week, many people report warmer hands and feet, especially in cooler environments. This often reflects improved vessel relaxation rather than increased heart effort. Another common change is reduced heaviness or stiffness, particularly in the legs after sitting or walking. As blood flow encounters less resistance, movement feels easier and recovery tends to be quicker. Some people notice more stable energy during the day. This isn't stimulation, it's improved oxygen and nutrient delivery to muscles and tissues, which helps reduce fatigue without jitters. Sleep quality may also improve for some individuals. Better circulation supports nighttime recovery, and relaxed blood vessels can contribute to a calmer cardiovascular state during rest. For those monitoring blood pressure, small downward shifts or fewer spikes are sometimes noticed, especially when hydration and consistency are maintained. These changes tend to be gradual and steady, rather than sudden. It's important to remember that results vary. Age, existing conditions, medications, and consistency all influence how quickly changes appear. The goal in the first 7 days isn't perfection, it's momentum. When these habits are continued beyond the first week, improvements often deepen as the body adapts to more efficient nitric oxide signaling and healthier vessel function. Who should be careful with nitric oxide foods? Nitric oxide supporting foods are generally safe when eaten as part of a normal diet, but certain people should approach them with extra awareness, especially when making changes quickly. Anyone already taking blood pressure medications should be cautious about sudden increases in nitrate-rich foods like beets and leafy greens. These foods can enhance vessel relaxation, and when combined with medication, blood pressure may drop more than expected. Gradual changes work best. People using blood thinners or anticoagulants should also pay attention, particularly with garlic. Garlic supports circulation and platelet balance, which may amplify medication effects if intake increases sharply. Those with low blood pressure may notice lightheadedness or fatigue if nitric oxide support is added too aggressively. In these cases, smaller portions and slower progression help the body adjust safely. Individuals with kidney issues or on restricted potassium diets should be mindful of portion sizes, especially with leafy greens and certain fruits, which can be high in potassium. Some people experience digestive sensitivity, especially with raw garlic or concentrated beet juice. Cooking foods lightly and spreading intake across meals often resolves this issue. Finally, anyone with a chronic medical condition or recent cardiovascular event should discuss dietary changes with a healthcare professional, especially if symptoms change. Nitric oxide foods are meant to support the body, not overwhelm it. When introduced gradually and used consistently, they work gently alongside the body's natural systems rather than forcing rapid change.
Final message. Improving circulation doesn't require extreme diets, expensive supplements, or forcing the body into sudden change. Small, consistent food choices can gently support nitric oxide, the signal that helps blood vessels relax and blood flow move smoothly. By choosing foods that support production, protect availability, and help arteries respond, you're working with your body instead of against it. Leafy greens, beets, citrus fruits, garlic, and healthy fats each play a different role, and together they create steady, reliable support for circulation. What matters most is consistency. These changes aren't about perfection or quick fixes. They're about building habits that the body can maintain.
habits that support comfort, movement, and cardiovascular ease over time. If you're just starting, begin slowly. Add 1 or 2 foods, notice how your body responds, and build from there. Even modest shifts can lead to meaningful improvements when repeated day after day. Your arteries are designed to adapt. When you give them the right support, they respond, often more quickly and more naturally than expected. If you found this helpful, consider sharing it with someone who cares about their circulation and subscribe for more simple, science-based ways to support heart and vessel health. Small steps today can lead to smoother blood flow tomorrow. If this video helped you understand circulation a little better, please take a moment to like it. It helps this information reach others who may be looking for simple, natural ways to support blood flow. Subscribing means you won't miss future videos focused on practical, science-based tips for heart and vessel health, explained clearly and calmly. And if you know someone who could benefit from this information, feel free to share it with them. Sometimes a small reminder can make a meaningful difference. Thank you for being here and taking care of your health.